Right. So this is a fucking great point. The threat exists at every level. The threat exists at every level. Because the threat exists at every level, there always has to be a meeting of two opposing forces, okay? So as we are meeting two opposing forces, we've got a left and a right that collide and create a third. In this case, we've got sound, right? Two physical things meeting and creating sound. If this was bigger, then it wouldn't just be sound, it would be light, for example, or a voice. Oh, yeah. So we've got two meeting, opposing things create all of the potential infinites. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This is what it means to be let him without sin cast the first stone, because the idea of he who is without sin casting the first stone is basically let he who is the most balanced person, the most, I am at the top of the mountain and therefore I can see all of the possible outcomes, much like my father always used to say, of where to go. Having said that, I can't push the fucking boulder. It's got to go one way. The wheel has to turn. Now, this is the thought, right? Is either I push the boulder and we have a world war and pestilence and famine and we all die. Understood? Or we use the power of the forces beneath us to push us to the stars, to push us to the highest possible objective personally within our hearts, to push us to the highest possible objective socially, morally, to push us to the highest possible objective physically, to get to the stars, if that is the kind of fractal of reality that we so choose. I believe that what will happen as we get into space will simply kind of create a fairly closed loop on the Taurian fractal, because infinity can only be infinity if it loops back on itself. You can't have an infinity that has an end and a beginning, typically. But when you have an infinity that encompasses all possibilities, one of the possibilities is that something ends because the infinity shifts, it gear shifts. And that's where when we die, that's technically the end of your infinite soul, but it's also the re-emergence of your infinite soul in a new dimension. The idea being that if you and I live good, wholesome, honest lives, we can pass our information, our souls, our mimetic legacy, and our genetic legacy to the stars. Somehow we can birth an infinite conscience. And if we do this, it may come through the media, it may come through the technology, because we are at the point where we want to take our soul and our senses to other planets. I can go into why I think Star Trek is going to be closer to the truth of aliens than Star Wars, because they will have evolved from where the necessity of balancing an equilibrium point here uses the body of the beast beneath, and therefore they walk upright. This is the most biblical message you can get, which is that when a beast walks upright, it ascends to man. Think about it.